Comparison price for Friday, January 16th, 2026. Presentation of Bet365. Why are you looking at me?
Sorry, I didn't know. Trust me, it's not my favorite view.
It's not many's favorite view. Coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio. I thought I was doing something wrong.
No.
Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sekeres with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogers and Hidden Switches conducting things in the producer's booth. We got a big show planned for you.
It's a Friday. It's sunny. Mm-hmm. Historically, Fridays have been tempestuous between the two of us.
That's correct.
But we have not seen the flaming orb a whole lot.
No.
I think the sun's going to...
No, we're getting along today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the sun's going to shine brightly.
Absolutely. It's hard to be angry on a beautiful sun-splashed Vancouver Friday in January of all months. I'm playing golf tomorrow. My NFL team plays on Sunday.
True.
I'm watching golf, and Nick Taylor's leading the Sony Open tonight. Things are happening to bring me to a joyous place, at least until the Rams and Bears kick off on Sunday afternoon.
Almost had a Trevor Martin's moment. I was driving around yesterday in the sun, and I had a sun visor issue. I was just driving in that wrong angle into the sun, and I almost got mad.
So for those who don't know, Trevor Martin's the original producer of Sekeres and Price. He later became our boss at 1040. He still works with us to this day.
Yes.
Not here in the studio. He works from home, but he's still part of our
operation
and our team here with the Nation Network. And
this is pre-Sekeres and Price. This was just the Blake Price experience at
that's
the time.
Right. Blake goes back even further.
He was on West 2nd Avenue, our old studios, and the sun was coming through the shades just so, and the shades weren't helping where he wanted it on the screen. And in Vancouver, of all places, he turned and exclaimed, "F you, son." Mm-hmm. Except he said the word. Something that no Vancouverite should ever say.
We would open the shade and be like, "Oh my God, what a gorgeous day!" And Trevor would be like, can you close that, man? Need darkness.
Trevor has some unique qualities.
Indeed.
No hot liquids. Does not eat soup or drink any hot liquid beverages.
No hot liquids.
Why?
He used to do a feature on our show called Pop Mart.
Yeah.
Because he's a big movie guy, so he would review films on Friday afternoons. It would usually get contentious. Every film he saw was the greatest movie. You remember this?
Yeah.
He's like, so I'm going to see the new James Bond movie, and when I'm done, I'm going to have a ranking including the best Bond film ever. So he comes in, what's the best Bond film ever, Trevor? The one he just saw last night, believe it or not, Skyfall.
Yeah,
I was like, what?
He also had some things that he hated,
more. You're going Skyfall?
I remembered a lot of Skyfall was great, but
it was pretty good.
He also hated movies too, though.
Well, he hates a lot.
Yeah.
He hated me for a long time, and he really hated he really hated our show earlier this week when I said nobody does it's coming, Trevor, oral drool like Blake Price. He goes, I've never heard that term. I've worked in radio. Can you please never say that again, Matt?
Except were you spelling
or with a disclaimer?
You were spelling it A-U-R-A-L, weren't you? Because I was saying it and just hearing it.
Is it not O-R-A-L?
O-R is the mouth.
Right.
A-U is the ears.
Yeah. I spoke it. I didn't need to spell it. Poll question today. Do you miss Canucks wins? Very simple. You can vote yes. You can vote no. Do so at the Sekeres and Price X and YouTube channels. The Vancouver Canucks club record for consecutive losses is 10. It was set in the early days of the 1997-98 season. They went from October 23rd to November 11th without a victory. There have been 4 9-game losing streaks through the years for the Vancouver Canucks, including one right now, ongoing. Now, the longest winless streak in franchise history is 13. That was back in the 73-74 season. For our younger viewers, listeners, we used to have ties in the National Hockey League. And so thus the winless streak to 13. The longest losing streak in NHL history? Canucks are just halfway there. Buffalo Sabres, 9-game losing streak? That's quaint. How about 18? Sabres in 20-21, that was the bubble year. Remember COVID? Lost 18 straight.
In regulation.
I don't have that.
Overall.
03-04, the Pittsburgh Penguins, pre-Sidney Crosby, lost 18 straight. And later in the show, little trivia Easter egg question with Jeff Merrick about the longest postseason losing streak, which is actually a very surprising.
It's a very interesting exercise.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So there you have it. I voted no because, of course, this is Team Tank, the highest draft pick possible, and, of course, securing that draft pick floor, right? Finish last overall, pick no lower than third. But I will say this. You don't want to tie the club record of 10. Tomorrow against Edmonton is one where I think a lot of Canucks fans will be rooting for a win. You saw a Canucks fan tweet on this 8-game homestand, just get the Edmonton and Toronto games?
Yes.
If you get those 2 games, then you can go ahead and you can lose to Ovi and the Capitals. You can lose to Bo and the Islanders, to 2 Hughes brothers and the Devils, to Sid and the Penguins, to Macklin and the Sharks, to the Ducks. But get the first game tomorrow against the Oilers, avoid that 10-game losing streak, tying the club record, and get that last one 2 weeks from tomorrow, the game on the 31st against the Leafs.
You know who my favorite player is of all time in the NHL?
It is the late, great Ducky, Dale Hawerchuk.
The Winnipeg Jets were able to draft Dale Hawerchuk because they went without a win. Not a losing streak, but they went without a win because there was ties back then. For how long?
I'll go a nice round number, 20.
Quaint.
Really?
30
No.
games.
Oh, my God.
This is within the bounds of a season, folks. No wraparound needed
no.
here. Within the bounds of the season, 30
Holy
games shit. Without tasting victory. Like that. That is too much. This Canucks team has a chance. They really do.
By the way, that 81 draft with your boy at the top, first pick out of the Cornwall Royals program, holy cow. Was that a draft?
Yes.
Hawerchuk, number 1. Ronnie Francis, number 4. Al McInnes, number 15. James Patrick played nearly 1,300 games, was a very good defenseman for the Rangers. Bobby Carpenter was a terrific forward for the Washington Capitals. That's just the first round, man. Our boy Jim Benning went 6 overall to the Leafs. But yeah, Fuhrer the 8th overall from the Victoria Cougars.
Tanty McInnes, oh my God.
Tony Tanty to Chicago, not the Canucks, but needless to say, was exceptional.
Even like 800 game guys like Garth Butcher and Randy Moeller.
Chelios is in the second round of that draft. Like 1,600 NHL games. Van Beesbrook's in that draft. Was a starting goalie for a U.S. Olympic
Now, drafts are better when there's only 21 teams.
Yeah.
But still.
But, you know, Bruce Driver, the big slap shot for New Jersey, he could really shoot
Always
a puck.
had him in my packs for hockey cards.
He was a very popular guy.
I had too many Bruce Drivers.
Did you know Gaetan Duchesne played 1,000 games out of that draft? No, that was an exceptional draft. And, of course, if you're a Canucks fan, you're hoping for the same thing.
Yeah.
You're hoping to get a chance to take a Dale Hawerchuk, a Ron Francis at the top of this 2026 draft. Okay, so I was no, but ask me tomorrow, I'm yes. You are
If I miss the Canucks wins,
Do you miss Canucks wins?
I miss you missing the Canucks.
Yes.
I'm talking to you, the fan. Like, I like it when you're excited. I like it when you can't wait to talk to us and feedback to us about a game. And this is a big one, guys. I miss that sizzle. And having it for a season and a half or so, or 2 seasons, a couple of years back. Like, it was a tonic for us.
It was amazing.
Like, we don't cheer, but we love to be involved in something big.
The city's better when the local NHL team is winning. The vibe is way better. Conversations about the team. Like, I was at the BC Sports Hall of Fame selection committee meeting yesterday, my first year on the committee. Thank you to Jason Beck and the fantastic team there. And one of my fellow committee members was sitting beside me, and she leans over and she's like, "What's going on with these Canucks? Like, do you know how many conversations I have around town with somebody coming up to me and goes, oh, the Canucks. Oh,
But you know what, Matt? It's quieting down now because there's nothing left to really talk about.
It's funny because my better half, she checked in a couple of days ago on the show. She's like, how's the show going? First of all, I'm like, oh, you're interested in how the show's going. I go, it's really busy, really popular. We're doing pretty big audiences these days. She goes, but I don't get it. They're losing. You told me it's always better when they win for the audience size. And I go, well, the Quinn Hughes trade changed everything, right? Because it just changed the direction, the course of the franchise, and now it's about who else is going. And so I think people are interested in that. And she's like, so have you stopped cheering for them to win? Because early in the season, I told her, I said, baby, you should be rooting for some Canucks wins here, because if this season goes down the toilet, that could have pretty bad consequences for the show. You're out of it early, right? We've had years like that where they're friggin' out of it by Remembrance Day. It's a long year. I understand why casuals check out. But right now, and I think there's a little bit of the perverse curiosity going on here too, right? Okay, how many can they lose in a row? How are they going to find a way to lose this one tonight? It is so bad that pity and sympathy is coming to the Canucks, or at least to Canucks fans from different corners of the hockey world. We will get into that here in a bit. So yes or no, do you miss Canucks wins? Vote, Scarce and Price, X and YouTube channels. Our top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Pick of the litter or just a second-round pick? The insider consensus is that the Vancouver Canucks aren't going to get a first-round pick for Kiefer Sherwood. Are you kidding me? Boston just traded a 28-year-old AHL enforcer to Anaheim for a fourth-round pick.
He's played 10 NHL games this year.
Are you kidding me? He's 28. He's a winger? Come on. Chris Johnson of The Athletic and TSN reported the New York Rangers offered a second-round pick and a young player with pedigree, and the Canucks rejected that. And guess what? Rangers will not be making that offer again. Yeah. More on that in a second.
They're thinking to themselves, phew.
Yeah. Another report had a second and third-round pick being offered. And look, that may be true right now, but things can sure change by the March 6th trade deadline. In fact, they may change by the February 4th roster freeze here. 4th or 5th, the roster freeze. Somewhere around there. And I say that because, and I think we went through the exercise last week in terms of what's holding up a Kiefer Sherwood trade. I can very much understand if you have teams out there who are above the playoff bar or playoff adjacent, who are looking at their rosters and saying, we want a second-line center. Remember all the teams that were hunting second-line centers in the summer?
Yep.
Or a top four defenseman. Those are more valuable positional pieces, right, than your winger, even a good winger like Sherwood. So I can understand if something like that is in play. I don't know why the Canucks wouldn't give teams permission to talk to Sherwood and his agent about an extension. Like, you absolutely have to. You have to. That's going to increase his value. Come on, guys. This ain't hard.
I think it's worth noting there's going to be some big-name UFAs traded. Artemi Panarin is getting traded.
Well, this is what I'm getting at.
And so the first-round picks, people are going to keep them close to see if they can use that for... Now, again,
this is what I'm
the
saying.
salary caps are very different. So Sherwood is eminently fittable, and that's not the case for a guy like Artemi Panarin.
Correct.
At half retention for the Rangers, that late in the season, you don't need a ton of space at that point for Panarin.
No, and that's why I think for a lot of teams, Sherwood is plan B because either they're hunting the greater positional value of center or defense, or they're just looking at other wingers. And so let's bring it up here, Mike, for those of you on visual platforms. This is Nick Kiprios' trade board. And look, it doesn't mean that all these players are going to be traded. But, wow, this is a pretty good collection of talent, right? Alex Tuch from upstate New York, Western New York. He's going to re-sign with his effectively hometown Sabres after they've turned things around. Calgary's owner doesn't want to rebuild either. But I think they will be trading Rasmus Anderson, who is a UFA and has
They made that statement today. They're not going to rebuild.
It's
really?
unbelievable.
Have you looked at your team? The birth dates of
Calgary
your
and
players?
Vancouver, they're two of the smartest hockey publics, and they've got the owners who don't want to rebuild.
But yeah, Rasmus Anderson, Coleman, and Kadri, they're all getting traded.
Oh, I'm not sure about Kadri, Blake, especially given today.
Yeah, you're right.
Kadri has term left. Does
see.
Coleman have term left? I think Coleman has term left.
Oh, he has 1
well.
year left. I think he might have 1 year left.
But certainly Anderson's being traded because he's a UFA. He's not going to re-sign there. And
Coleman's got one,
let's talk about a number of teams hunting Rasmus Anderson. Columbus and Boone Jenner, we'll see there. Are they in it? Are they out?
They've got a month left to make that decision.
Robertson, needless to say, is a massive contract that's looming there.
The only reason why he maybe gets traded is it becomes abundantly clear to Jason or to them that Jason Robertson wants to move on.
Yeah. I think you can see Ryan O'Reilly traded from Nashville. Stamkos, who knows? It's a big ticket, a lot of term. It's going to have to be a more creative deal. But yes, Hamilton, we know his agent is out seeking trades right now. Then you look at the St. Louis Blues, where if somebody makes them a fair offer on Cairo, they're going to move there. Shen as an older player.
Yeah.
And some others, as you mentioned, Panarin with the Rangers. So it's a pretty healthy pool of available players right now. Now, it's still a seller's market, but for the moment, these buyers can't afford to be choosy.
Okay, so
or choosier than maybe they can be in the early days of March.
So here's the question: If we are January 16th, we're still a ways to go before the Olympics. If between now and the Olympic roster freeze, Matt, they get another second-round pick alongside a decent prospect, somebody that it's on their prospect board, their pro scouts have got it, like a guy who's 20 to 22 years of age prospect. Do you take that deal, or do you roll the dice and take this to the deadline with the hopes that somebody does choose Kiefer Sherwood as plan B and gives you the first-round pick?
With a different profile of player with a different salary, I would say make the move now. With Sherwood, I do think there's a world where 11th hour team's desperate and you get your price.
It's completely possible.
Now, I was for moving on Sherwood early because of the risk of injury.
Which has reared its head.
Now, because of the Olympic break, he is going to get time.
Yeah, he'll be okay by the deadline for sure.
Well, one would sure hope.
Yeah.
We'll see if he gets into a game before the Olympic break comes. But because of what you outlined, he's $1.5 million. Like virtually every team can add him without having to subtract. He's a physical player. Remember what Tanner Jeannot went for all those draft picks a few years ago to Tampa, who was a team hunting cups and wanted to add the physical presence. So GMs and coaches love them a physical player in the postseason.
Just by the way, for the math,
as a goal scorer.
For the math, if the Canucks retained 50% on Sherwood.
He'd
By
be
the
at
by the
minimum
time
salary.
by the time the deadline rolls around, do you know how much salary cap space you would need? You would need like
100 and something.
yes, like we say virtually
Not
none.
even
We mean
200,000.
virtually no space.
Not even 200,000.
like it's a free player.
Yes.
All you got to do is pay the price.
Yeah. Oh, I should also mention JT Miller's BFF, Vincent Trocheck, was on that Kyprios trade board and available. He's got term left. God, Canucks, no.
Oh, there's no chance.
No.
There's no chance.
Too old.
I think he's one of JT Miller's best
No,
friends.
they grew up together
Yes.
in Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio.
Like, can you?
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's
Their
not
families
happening.
are close.
Don't worry. It's like,
Yeah.
And in fact, I would bet that JT Miller,
Yeah.
with wearing the letter under contract for a long time, goes up to him and says, I bet you he advocates and says, don't trade Vincent. He'll be fine next year.
I would just love that. Hey, Elias, meet Vincent Trocheck. He's going to be standing right behind you in every single line rush drill
Oh, my God.
for the next 3 years.
Not happening. Don't worry. Don't fret about that. It's not happening.
But here's the thing. The Rangers have put out another letter
Have they ever?
announcing a retool, not a rebuild. Quote, this will not be a rebuild. This will be a retool around our core players and prospects.
The other key part of this is them saying you're going to see players leave here. And that is a nod to Panarin, who met with management today, and they implored him, because he's got a no move, can we please find you a place to win this year? We won't be resigning.
Yeah. The Rangers sent a similar letter to their fans in February 2018 when Jeff Gorton was running the team, now with Montreal, announcing a rebuild. So please don't anybody show Francesco today's letter, let alone the letter in 2018, because I could just see Frankie with a copy of each walking into Jim Rutherford's office and going, see, rebuilds don't work.
Retool is fine.
8 years later, and now they're retooling. All we have to do is retool. No, none of this rebuild talk I heard this week. 2 to 3 years, rebuild? Come on. Can't have that.
To be fair to them in the original letter, they send out that letter. They follow up with seasons of 78, 79.
You're talking about the 2018
Yeah.
letter?
They follow up with seasons of 78, 79 points in the shortened COVID year, and then the shortened COVID year after that, 60 points, which is around 500, just above 500. Typical sort of rebuilding kind of totals. 21, 22 coming out of the pandemic, 110-point seasons. 22, 23, 107-point seasons. 23, 24, 114 points.
Blake, there was a time there I thought the Rangers might be the most complete team in the NHL. There was a time there where if you had told me Rangers are going to win the Cup this year, I would have been like, yeah, they're a strong candidate.
That was a 3-year rebuild. Like, they did a pretty good job. That's 3 seasons of one minimum 107 points, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And then, man, did it like
Oh, boy.
it's because everybody aged out at the exact same time.
That's right.
They all aged out at the exact same time.
Well, and more recently, their goaltender got hurt.
Yeah. Oh, and a guy like
They
Adam
gave up 10 and 8 goals.
and a guy like Adam Fox goes from winning the Norris to not being able to crack the top
Team
8
USA.
in Team USA.
I think that was a mistake, though. I was very surprised.
Pretty harsh.
Very good group. Don't get me wrong, but I would have taken Fox. Panarin has a full no-move clause. Trocheck has a 12-team no-trade list. There is good news on the trade reporting front, Vancouver Canucks fans. I know the news on Sherwood isn't what you want it to be just yet. But the Mayor's Manor, which is a blog that's covered the LA Kings for a long time now, actually, they say they got 2 separate sources telling them that general manager Ken Holland is kicking the tires on Evander Kane for his sagging team that needs forwards and needs goals. And, of course, it's Ken Holland who brought Evander Kane to Edmonton.
Yeah. Yep.
So Ken Holland loves him some Evander Kane. Kane, as you know, a UFA, final year of his contract. It's a $5 million plus player.
Retention there doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. The Vancouver Canucks should be peddling this player with full 50% retention.
100%.
They don't need to have that negotiated. Just come right on out and say, no, we'll pay half the salary here.
Yeah.
That makes him far more digestible for teams from both a financial and a cap point of view. because I can't imagine the market for Evander Kane is too flush. And, of course, you'll be done retaining on Evander Kane come July 1st. You'll still have another retention spot available to you if you need it to facilitate another deal. But if that's the case, and again, what's this guy's name in Boston? Now Anaheim? Veal?
Yeah.
If Pat Verbeek is giving up fourth-round picks for AHL enforcers with 10 games NHL experience, holy cow, Evander Kane should be worth more than that, no?
If you know about Jeffrey Veal, you are a die-hard hockey fan.
Where's he from?
Jeffrey Veal is from Rimouski, Quebec.
Was he
Viel.
drafted?
Peut-être. He is not a drafted player. Undrafted player. He's rattled around the AHL. He's got a grand total.
Well, he's 64 career NHL games. It's 10 this year with Boston. 5 points in 64 NHL games.
And 183 PIMs. He is old school. Like, this is... And Verbeek gave a fourth-round pick. So what's...
Like, is this an old school GM going, oh, I got to protect my guys. Let's go out and get a fighter? Like, is that what we're looking at?
I mean, this is such a weird one. I don't think it sets any prices.
Probably not. You're right there.
But, I mean, could you dream of a third-round pick for Evander Kane?
Oh, my gosh. I'd cartwheels down Robson.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
No. I can't actually do a cartwheel, but Blake will do cartwheels down Robson.
Do a cartwheel either.
Do a cartwheel, throw at my hip, not golf this year. What's up with Yellow Dog, other than I'll be drinking some because it's a Friday?
It does feel like you know what? It's been a tough week for everybody here. I think we all deserve a beer this weekend. Or is it a Margarita Friday?
Going to Mexico in a couple of weeks. That would.
The Hombre Lime Margarita. Yellow Dog Spirits. Bring in your beach vacay to wherever the heck you are. The Hombre Lime Margarita brings you the smell of the salt water and the sound of the palm trees blowing in the wind with every sip. Amazingly refreshing, incredibly delicious. So as we head a little bit closer to Family Day long weekend where you might go away or spring break, the Hombre Lime Margarita.
Canucks lose their ninth straight 4-1 in Columbus. They get swept in regulation as well on that 6-game road trip. Lost every single game in regulation. Didn't get a single point. 12 available, 0 They're outscored 27-9 in the process, 0-7-2 in January, 1-9-2 in their last 12. They have not won a regulation hockey game since December 19th at the New York Islanders, which means if they don't beat the Oilers tomorrow in regulation, they will have gone a full month between regulation victories. The only good news, well, outside of another loss to further the tank, cement last place in the overall league standings. Brock Besser, the longest tenured Canuck, bumps the slump. The only Canucks goal last night, his first in 22, with assists from Elias Pettersson and Zeev Buium.
It came seconds after he was denied a point-blank opportunity, and I was mid-eye roll, and the puck worked its way back to him, and he scored.
And I thought it an interesting comment from Jim Rutherford in that Gary Mason Globe and Mail piece. And, look at the relief. Riccio tweeting here. Look at the relief on Brock's face, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Feel for the guy. I thought it was an interesting comment. Here it is from Rutherford with regards to whether the Hughes trade had something to do with Besser's play falling off dramatically. And Jimmy says, quote, "I'm sure it has. They were very, very good friends, and I'm sure that was part of that. You know, he's just a terrific person, and he can be sensitive sometimes to situations like this, so I'm sure it has. Yeah, no doubt."
The danger.
Yeah, and we've talked about this. That last year was tough for Brock because he's a feeler, and he moves effortlessly through all factions of the room. Everybody likes Brock. And so, you know, seeing two friends and teammates at each other's throats and not being able to get along and having that infect the dressing room was difficult. It was very jarring, I think, to the entirety of the Canucks team that Quinn Hughes was traded when he was traded just so abruptly last month.
The danger is, Matt, what's he going to think when Connor Garland's traded or Thatcher Demko's traded, because all of that's coming. Like he's
Well, we don't know about Garland, but there's more smoke there for sure.
eh,
Demko may well be untradeable.
but there's more departures regardless. And I think he is a guy. He's the popular kid at school that's friends with everybody. I think.
Yeah.
And there's going to be departures.
So let's hear from Brock on bumping the slump, even if it was in a loss.
Yeah, it's definitely, feels good, but it doesn't feel that good because of the result of the game. There's some tough times right now, and the only way to get out of these tough times is hard work, and our team needs to understand that. And I think it starts in practice, starts off the ice, and just understanding what our coaches want us to do and go out there and execute it. And I think that's pretty much what we have to do.
That was like a Tyler Myers-esque answer there.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like almost a coach's pet leadery answer from Brock. Good to hear. And good of him to acknowledge that, seeing that puck go in had to have felt good.
Yeah.
After what he's been through, hadn't scored since late November.
And for his sake, I'm glad it was a shoots and scores goal. We've said that about players that are on slumps before. Ass and in would do for this player. They just need to.
Yes.
No, Brock needs to actually score a goal, and he scored a goal. It's good.
Or empty netter.
Yeah.
Okay. A shockingly bad night for Marcus Pettersson, whose nightmare season continues. Holy cow, has this guy been bad? Like, there are some nights, including last night, where you watch Marcus Pettersson and you go, how did this guy make the NHL? He was on the ice for 3 of the 4 Columbus goals. He was in the penalty box for the other one. So culpability on all 4 goals. And you're a defensive defenseman. He defended a backdoor pass that never happened on the 1-0 power play goal. He gets manhandled by Kirill Marchenko. Sideboards on the 2-0 goal. He's in the box for tripping on Werenski's goal, the third. And gets caught on a terrible pinch that leads to the 2-1 goal by Port Moody's Kent Johnson. I mean, that's the quan of mistakes there for Marcus Pettersson.
I think
touch them all.
I
Marcus.
think they need to trade Marcus Pettersson if you can, and I think
holy cow, yes.
And I think you need to hope that teams recognize, and maybe you even tell the teams, this guy's shattered. He left a Penguins team that he was quite comfortable in because he thought of greener pastures were here in Vancouver, and the opposite has occurred. Penguins are doing just fine.
Yep.
And the Canucks suck, and he signs a long-term extension. He realizes, I have signed on to a team for pretty much the duration of a rebuild.
Well, Blake, when he signed the contract last year, because he had been here a minute, it may have even been Jeff, said to him, you just got here. How are you signing an extension that quickly? Like, you don't have time to see the city.
Yeah.
And his answer was, because I've got a great relationship with Jim and Patrick, and I trust them. Oh.
Yeah, that's been scuttled.
Not the relationship,
No.
but the trust that they can build a winner. Blue Jackets 2 for 2 on the power play last night. Canucks penalty kill is 9 of its last 18, so that's just 50% since the beginning of since this month. Canucks have allowed a league high 41 power play goals. They're back down to 31st on the penalty kill at 72%, better than only the Seattle Kraken. And this is with the head coach, who was the PK coach last year, when it finally rehabilitated itself and was excellent. Top 5 in the league. But we said at the beginning of the year, penalty killing looks like it could be a problem. And we said that because Pius Suter was a penalty killer, primary, and he left. And then when Teddy Bluger left, we're like, oh boy. And Derek Forbert as well. This PK could be pretty awful, and sure enough it is. But again, predictable. When fans can see it, management should have seen it well before and addressed. Not so much. They begin an 8-game homestand tomorrow versus Connor McDavid and the Oilers. Adam Foote says they may get the aforementioned Bluger and Filipino back as soon as next week. Here's the head coach postgame.
Yeah, we're going home, and we're going to have a big challenge here with Edmonton coming in, and we have to be better. This isn't good enough, and we can't wait for Monday. We might get Blugs back, or next week we might get Hito back. We got to play, and bring it early and compete. And there was a little bit of compete tonight, but it has to start at the beginning of the game.
There was a little bit of compete tonight. To his credit, he did not say they were right there. They were not right there.
No.
He knew I can't go to that phrase here tonight. And as we talked about right from the outset of this trip, effort became an issue here over the last fortnight. Effort had not been an issue for the first 3 months of the season.
Effort/belief.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof. All of those became issues last night. And here's where I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about when I mentioned earlier the sympathy and pity that is coming Vancouver's way. This is at Dauber Hockey. Dauber Prospects, been around for a long time. I neither like nor dislike the Vancouver Canucks. I'm Switzerland, as I am with most NHL teams. That said, I hope they make off like bandits when they trade Sherwood. The fans really need a big win. Maybe like no other.
Yeah.
Spot on, Dauber. This is the saddest/angriest fan base in the NHL right now. Rangers are in the hunt, but that's a recent phenomenon. Sure, they've been terrible on home ice all year, haven't scored goals on home ice, upset people at the Garden. But the Canucks, man, this is 12 years running.
Here's the interesting thing. I think the Canucks fan base will party like they've won the cup if Sherwood does bring in a first-round pick. Secondarily, I do wonder what it does to the faith in management. Because I think there's a lot of fans. I've seen it already in the inbox here. If they said Kiefer Sherwood has just been traded for a second-round pick and Jimmy Anderson, highfalutin prospect for whoever, I think a lot of fans are totally fine with that right now. Right now, I think a lot of fans are totally fine with that. So if you're fine with that, even those fans would have to admit, okay, I didn't believe you could get a first-round pick. Good on you. I do wonder what that will do, and I wonder if that's even part of the motivation here, Matt, is we need to prove to the fans we know what we're doing here. And a first-round pick would go a long way in restoring that faith.
Do you remember when we did trade deadline season in 2017? And they sent Alex Burrows to the Ottawa Senators for Jonathan Dahlen, who's a pretty good prospect.
Yeah.
And they sent Yannick Hansen to the Sharks for Nikolai Goldobin. Do you remember how happy the market was?
Yeah. You did the expected.
We cashed in older wingers. I want to say Hansen had term, but Alex didn't. Maybe they were both UFAs. I forget. Either way, this market was rejoicing at new, young, pedigreed prospects, players who were going to get an opportunity.
And hey,
a youth movement was being ushered in, and this market stood and applauded Trevor Linden and Jim Benning that deadline.
And you're probably thinking, hey, that blew up, though. They didn't get anything out of it. No, remember, Jonathan Dahlen is Linus Karlsson.
That's right.
So one of the best stories on this team right now. So no, it did pay out. That's exactly the kind of thing you do because you never know. I mean, Linus Karlsson's got an outside chance of scoring 18, 20 goals.
Yeah, and they swung and missed on Goldobin, but he was their first-round pick.
Couple things to bring to your attention. Jeff O'Neill just tweeted out.
Oh, no.
I talked with Brian Hayes. We both did the TV panel last night. Today's radio show will be a retool. And I saw Rachel Krysiak, nay Dory, tweeting out a great poll question. Whose rebuild goes better, the Canucks or the Rangers? I mean,
but they're a retool. They're not a rebuild, so we'll have to.
Whose re goes better? Yeah. Because
Jeff Merrick likes renovate. Blake Price likes reload.
But Matt, which management group has the faith of its fan base more? I mean, that is a tie at 0 right now. That is a tie on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Like,
That's like you're into the fourth or fifth period, knotted up at 0.
yes.
Let's get into Crave the Stats, brought
Sure.
to you by Uber Eats. And today we're going to look at the home road split the rest of the way for your Vancouver Canucks.
Well, craving wins at home, craving entertainment at home are many of the season ticket holders, I'm sure. But given the losing streak that they're on, this is the scary point here of when are too many losses? Because they play their next 8 at home. We've talked about that. Season-long 8-game homestand every other night. You don't even get like that. You know, sometimes in the middle of a homestand, you get 3 days off where everybody gets to reset. The teams, the players get a couple of days off. The fan base gets a couple of days off from paying $50 for parking. No, it's every other night for the next 16 nights.
That's too much. I know schedule making is very difficult. It's particularly difficult in an Olympic year when it's compressed and all that. But, boy, the league should look at not doing this
Yes.
for any team.
Then they play 19 of their next 24 at home. Now, you got the Olympic break in the middle, which helps break it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So that part's nice. 22 of their final 35 at home. So 22-13 the rest of the way. And just as a reminder, as Jeff Patterson points out, they are 1-8-3 in their past 12 at home. And I know everybody's on Team Tank, and rightfully so for the big picture. But, Matt, I do feel bad for the families, and they don't make up the majority of this demographic the rest of the way in all these home games. But there's going to be more than just a handful, Matt, of families that said, hey, let's take our kids to a Canucks game. Here's a game, February, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go to that game.
Mm.
They're not in line for a lot of entertainment that night when they take their family.
And yet, Canucks attendance is still pretty good.
Oh, yeah. You had to make that commitment
The
early.
secondary market is cheap, no doubt.
Yeah.
Or at least it has been. We'll see, because there are some star power opponents coming through here, right? Like McDavid, Crosby, Ovechkin. Like, wow. Some marquee. NHL doesn't have a lot of marquee guys, but they got 3 of them. They're all coming to town on this.
Well, at the beginning of the year, there was a reasonable amount of optimism, so they sold some tickets.
Yeah. Canucks have also dipped below 400 hockey.
Yes.
They're 16, 26, and 5. That's 394 hockey, everybody. Winnipeg at 467 is the next worst.
If you're
Canucks
in the
are now
threes,
minus 44 goal differential, Blake.
yeah.
Also worse, now tied with the St. Louis Blues as the worst team in the league. And then there's that home record of 4-12-3.
You're craving some entertainment. You're craving anything positive. Well, Uber Eats, in and of itself, the experience is positive. So they're undefeated. And every time the Canucks are playing at home, you get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. Go check out all the game day deals right now. They're assisting you, as much as the team might not be. Uber Eats is assisting you all season long. Download the app today.
I just, because I wasn't here yesterday, and thanks to JPAT for sitting in. And incidentally, that BC Sports Hall of Fame selection committee meeting, it was quite illuminating seeing it from the inside out as opposed to seeing it from the outside in for all these years.
Do you have more sympathy for the hockey halls and all those sort of things and their decision-making after?
Well, as Rintoul, Scotty's on the committee as well, as Scotty said at one point during the exercise, you know, when comparing like a hockey player to a swimmer to a canoeist to a, you know, he said, it's not even apples to apples, it's apples to eggplants. Yeah, it's a great call because I struggled with it. Like I thought I would, you know, go through everything, be done in an hour, make my selections, be done in an hour, go to the meeting. 3-4 hours later, like I went down a rabbit hole, then went down a mole hole and a wormhole. And I was like, at some point, I'm like, oh my God, I've got to make my mind up here. I've got to have some like bedrock. Here's what I believe. Here's who I'm going to vote for. Governing principles. Anyways, looking forward to you all finding out who's going to make up the class of 2026 for the BC Sports Hall of Fame. But missing the show yesterday, and I know you guys had the conversation about the Jim Rutherford interviews, and One was pretty straightforward, and then here came Mason with the Globe column. I was surprised Rutherford acknowledged, like on the record, he wants to lose games for the benefit of the high draft pick.
It's going to be ugly this year, he said.
I was surprised to hear that. I do wonder whether they got a slap on the wrist from Gary in the league office today. Maybe just Jim, I'll be 77 next month. Fuck it. I'll say it.
Yeah.
But of course, you're not wrong. Like PJ and others have said, they won't say it, but of course they're trying to lose games the rest of the way because they want the highest draft pick. Jimmy just acknowledged that. Straight talk, Jimmy. And then the part that, sorry, Mike, I hit.
The Juno Award, we're going to come flying out of the studio if you do that again.
All these years in the business, still bad Mike etiquette. Trevor used to hate me for that too, on top of everything else he hated me for. But his hate is different than most people's hate, right? Like it's a little more.
Well, it loses its tone. The more hate you have, you don't take it as seriously.
When you hate everything, it's a diluted hate.
Yes.
Rather an impotent hate. But when Rutherford acknowledged how committed he is for this, he said, as we speak, yes, I am. But beyond that, meaning next season, he said he didn't know. Should he be conducting the rebuild if he's not going to be here beyond next season?
Well, as I pointed out yesterday, I remember him building up Patrick Allvin earlier in the week as well with IMAC.
Yeah.
This is 3 interviews. They all had their own personality. That IMAC one was more, look at Patrick Allvin. Isn't he great the way that he's in charge of everything now? Like that.
I think even the Aquilinis are wise enough that you can't go forward in a world with Allvin minus Rutherford. I would bet Ryan Johnson gets the gig if they're going from internal, and I would bet they
and leapfrogs.
I would bet Allvin out.
Allvin out.
And I would bet it's from internal because I don't think Francesco wants to hear no from an external candidate, let alone an external candidate who may have name value. Like, remember Dean Lombardi way back when? They coveted Dean Lombardi. He had no desire to work in this market for that group.
How about this? Ryan Johnson, president. Lawrence Gilman, general manager.
You just got a new gig.
I know. I'm trying to move him on.
And then I like this. This is from a Canucks fan who replied to me. Steven is his name. It's amazing how he changes the conversation with every interview.
Yes.
Coming out of the PJ interview, it's, quote, finally, rebuild. And then after the Gary Mason interview, it's, is he even going to be here to steer the ship? So why should we care what he says? Canucks fans, you are to be forgiven if you just can't keep up, head spinning on a swivel with all this.
Yes.
It's almost like the Trump administration. Here's another distraction. We're going to invade Greenland. Oh, my God, are you going to invade Greenland? Well, maybe not. But we're going to do this with credit cards. Oh, you're going to really do that with credit cards? No, we're not going to do that with credit cards. But so-and-so's going to give me your Nobel Peace Prize.
Squirrel!
The mixed messaging. Gentlemen, sit down. Make some notes. Sketch it out. Get on the same page. Be consistent. They just want a consistent answer, explanation, plan on where you're going. So if you say the rebuild or retool is going to be 1 to 2 years, and then you say, no, it's going to be a rebuild and it's 2 to 3 years, and then it's, oh, no, but we've been in a rebuild for 2 or 3 years. What? It's not helping. Lastly, there is some good news in Vancouver hockey, and boy, we need it. Sarah Nurse has been activated off the long-term injured reserve of the Vancouver Golden Eyes. She has played just 1 of 12 Golden Eyes games this season. They're back at it tomorrow versus Toronto. The Golden Eyes, and stop me if you heard this before, dead last in the league with just 3 regulation wins.
After beginning the season with all sorts of promise and good expectations.
4 total wins on the year, 11 regulation losses, 12 total there. And, yes?
I said, yikes.
Yeah. And should mention they are actually back at the Pacific Coliseum on Thursday. Tomorrow's game's in Toronto, but they host the Toronto Scepters here on Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Pacific Coliseum. Then they're out on the road. Then they have a big homestand starting on Sunday, March 1st. They're, of course, taking a break for the Olympics as well. A lot of their players will be going to the Olympics. But come March 1st, you have 5 consecutive home games there at the Coliseum between the 1st and the 21st. So, a few more games. 4 more games here before the Olympic break. Sarah Nurse is back. Hopefully get some wins for them. Get back into this hunt.
So you're telling me the Canucks play every other night, and it's a homestand for the Golden Eyes, too? It's a lot of professional hockey.
That's in March.
Oh, okay. That's in March.
But is that the other 8-game homestand for the Canucks? It could be.
It's a lot of hockey to watch. Somebody better start winning. Now, the Golden Eyes,
Canucks.
A win for the Golden Eyes goes a long way because it's a shorter season. So you make some headway with a victory. So hopefully hopefully they can get onto a bit of a streak here and start to show some promise.
Well, and here's the thing. That Golden Eyes homestand starts the 1st. The Canucks play at home on the 2nd and 4th. Then on the 9th, the second 8-game homestand starts. So, yeah, it effectively is. Starts a little later. It goes a little deeper into March. But the Canucks are pretty much home for the month of March, and the Golden Eyes are home for the first 3 weeks of March.
Yeah.
All the hockey happening here in
All
Vancouver.
of it happening.
Let's get to today's menu. It is brought to you by our friends at Greta. Fantastic spot to catch all the games, home and away, to pregame, to postgame. You are mere steps from the arena or the stadium. And it's an even better spot for your upcoming party if you need a venue for team building, family reunion, sociable, whatever the case may be, office party. They have outstanding street food. The smash burger is delicious. And they have the arcade that encircles the bar. Tons of fun new games. You know what they have? New game there. Noticed it Saturday. Twister. Did you see that? The big Twister?
No. Like
You
the old
can
board
play-
game?
Yeah. Well, the mat game.
Yeah.
Twister.
Wow. After a few drinks, that would be
Yeah.
interesting.
It's also a very intimate game.
Left
Anyways.
hand yellow. Okay.
For more info, to book your event, gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin.
I'm not playing that with you, by the way.
No, I'm never playing that with you.
No.
It's a co-ed game.
I would think.
Who we have here? Oh, Merrick. Jeff Merrick is coming up. Talk to Jeff about
Rewords.
rewords. Not one, but yes, talk
The
to
many.
Yes, about the many rewords. Jeff thinks there's a team out there that can do all its deadline shopping from the Vancouver Canucks roster. Be listening for that.
Why have a great Saturday going to Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot, if there's time, when you can just go to one store,
Exactly.
shop at one store, and do all the errands? Steve Eisner could do that.
Like Costco. But I believe you run out of time for Bed Bath & Beyond.
That's
not
true.
Home Depot. You
Yeah.
got that.
Yeah.
And then Captain Gregg Bell, Seahawks reporter for the Tacoma News-Tribune, in advance of the biggest football game for the Seattle Seahawks in more than a decade. Tomorrow's NFC divisional round game, 49ers at Seahawks. Third time these division rivals meet this season. Berth in the NFC Championship game is on the line. And Sam Darnold's got a bobo. Got hurt in the practice week throwing against air.
And not the only Seahawks player that got nicked during bye week.
During the bye week. The bye week.
What are they doing?
And, of course, San Francisco is ravaged at certain positions, defensive end, linebacker. Tell me again why we needed 17 games and why we're asking teams to play Sundays and Thursdays. you look at some of these rosters and some of these guys who are on the field in playoff games, and you go, you have no business even calling yourself a pro football player. And here you are in a playoff game. Like, there's 8 teams left. And you're cashing a check today. It's outrageous. Like, if the Bills get a receiver hurt Sunday, I guess a tight end or a running back is going to go play receiver. I don't know what happens if San Francisco loses a linebacker tomorrow. I guess you just guess what? We can't play in a multi-linebacker formation anymore. We'll have one linebacker. We'll play dime defense the rest of the way. Anyways, big weekend of NFL playoff action coming up. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the couple of Whitecaps happenings as they make their way to Spain for the training camp and preseason. MLS season is almost upon us here. Plus, the Aussie Open is about to start, and there's some really good things actually happening in Canadian tennis again. This has been a sport on the upswing for us for some time, so we'll get into that as well. And huge signings in the world of baseball, including a former Blue Jay. All of it coming up.
Huge, huge, huge.
Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day, Blake. I did not have a bet yesterday, so did you win?
I won my Mboko. I wanted to brag about that.
Okay, so go ahead. Lead us off.
And
that's good enough for me.
No, last night, too, I finally bet on Brock Besser and won.
Oh, wow. Was that +2 something?
Yep.
Oh, good.
No, it was plus 180. Okay. I said I wanted it bigger, but hey, I got the win. Hey. So I'm on a good heater here this week, too.
There's a famous quote, and I may not get the exact number, from women's tennis in the 70s, 80s, where Martina Navratilova beat Chris Everett like 16 consecutive times. And then when Chrissy finally won, she went, nobody beats Chris Everett 17 times in a row. Brock Besser.
Doesn't disappoint me.
Nobody.
22 games in a row.
I may go 21, but I'm not going 22.
I want to make sure that I'm happy on Saturday evening.
Oh.
And so I am hedging. I'm either going to watch the Seattle Seahawks begin a storybook run to the Super Bowl, or I'm going to have some cashola. The 49ers on the money line, plus 265. Just in case Sam Darnold's oblique is a little bit too
I got to say, I'm loving 7 points in that game. You know, it should be a low-scoring game anyway. 7 points plays up, and now the quarterback's hurt.
Yeah.
I'm going to the NFL weekend as well. I think Houston's going to win the ballgame at Foxborough. I'm going to take the +3 just because I love getting those field goals plus. But give me the Texans on the money line as well. Plus 150 to win at Foxborough. Remember everybody said that conversation was kind of lost this week because everyone was going into that first weekend of the NFL playoffs and saying, New England hasn't beaten anybody this year.
Well,
they're the biggest paper tiger hollow resume going. And then they beat up Chargers team that was missing 2 terrific offensive linemen, couldn't protect the passer. This Houston defense is for real. And C.J. Stroud ain't fumbling the ball 5 times this week.
Well, who's more ready in their growth curve to win this kind of a game? The Texans are more ready than the Patriots, aren't they?
Probably. Yep.
You know, they've been nibbling at it.
I think you'd argue May over Stroud right now, but Houston doesn't protect very well either. But they protect better than the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And their defense is hellacious. Love D'Amico Ryans and some of the personnel they have on. Hunter and Anderson are just outstanding coming off the edge. So give me Houston to win a ball game at plus 150. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Jeff Merrick, next. Stickers and Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. If you've ever dreamt of driving a spaceship, you can now satiate that dream by going to your Pacific Toyota dealer and jumping behind the wheel of a Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a modern cockpit.
Yes.
But not overwhelming. You can figure it out in a few minutes, which is tough these days.
Yep.
But it's all intuitive, big screen.
Huge.
And you just feel like you are ready to take off.
Every time I got in an Uber last night, it was the Toyota. Every time that I get into an Uber with a guy driving a Toyota, I ask him about the vehicle. I have yet to meet anyone who says any contrary words. They are all in love with their Toyota.
And let's face it, the fine folks at Toyota, they invented the hybrid. It is the Prius.
OG.
And you can lease a 2026 SE right now from $109 weekly, 3.99% APR with $3,300 down. Just go take one for a test drive. You'll fall in love. Your Pacific Toyota dealer or shoptoyota.ca.
Here's Jeff Merrick, the host of The Sheet, daily on the Nation Network. He joins us Fridays. Hello. How are you?
I am well. How are you two gentlemen doing? How is everyone doing with the rebuild?
Oh, the rebuild. It's going swimmingly. It's just so easy.
Just tearing it down, like the tearing down part. It's the fun part. Hey, let's take down this wall. Is this a supporting wall? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's just take it down. Why not? Yeah, sure. It's the building up part that's tough. That's the heavy lift.
I think patience is starting to wear a little thin here, Jeff, and not necessarily because they've lost 9 in a row, but because they haven't actually made a move since the Quinn Hughes trade. And Kiefer Sherwood got hurt earlier this week. So there's that.
Do you believe the old business saying that patience is action?
Patience?
I'm not familiar with
No.
it. Who articulated is that
patience? Patient. This is it's an old business saying, not to rush into anything just for the sake of making moves and looking busy, but actually being patient is actually part of the action process. Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? And
Yeah,
I specifically with Vancouver, obviously, like here too. Brian Burke was on with me yesterday talking about this. Once the whole league knows what's up and knows what you're doing, it becomes that much more difficult to get full value for your assets. Not saying that you can't do it, but when everybody knows what the score is, you know, the pirates tend to come out. You know, Brian loves talking about pirates.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what's happening with Kiefer Sherwood. And Kiefer Sherwood hasn't helped the process here with a goal-scoring drought as well. But everybody knew what Kiefer Sherwood was, I think, to some degree. He's outperformed his career in the last couple of seasons. Not going to take that away from him. But he's still Kiefer Sherwood. And I think teams knew that if they just waited out, like, ultimately the price would come down. The chances of Kiefer Sherwood staying on a 40-goal pace was pretty low. And those teams seem to have won the day. It doesn't sound like you're going to get a first-round pick for Kiefer Sherwood anymore.
I'm not so sure about that, to be honest with you, because we still have time. And there's still the reality of teams getting injured and staying in the hunt, and we need a replacement, and we've got a lot of picks. Maybe we have multiple picks in this year's first round. Maybe we can throw one away in a couple of years. We're right close to the playoffs. The owner's putting pressure on me. We're close. We have to get in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So right now, like, obviously, Blake, you're 100% right. Right now, the marketplace is saying no to a first-round pick. But again, if you believe patience is action, then be patient, and maybe the action happens in a month here, when there's a whole new reality leading into deadline. I'm still in the camp of Vancouver can get a first for Kiefer Sherwood.
I'm with you, in part because it's a $1.5 million salary, so everybody can add easy peasy. But I am starting to wonder this. Like, number one, I do think the Canucks would prefer young players, like we saw, like a Liam Ogren, Zeev William. Like, I think they prefer those sorts of players over first-round picks, particularly future first-round picks, like beyond 2026. Mm-hmm. Secondly, can you still do the conditional trades? Like, we trade you so-and-so, and it's a second-round pick, but it becomes a first
Yeah.
if you make the conference
Yeah.
final or something.
Yeah.
I wonder
Yeah.
if that sort of structure is also potentially going to be in play here for Kiefer Sherwood if the Canucks can't get exactly what they're looking for and if people are too hesitant to peel that first-round pick.
I think what's working in Vancouver's favor here is the fact that there are so many teams that are in it that you might not even need those contingencies, right? Like maybe I'm too far away from it. You guys are right there, but I look at this marketplace right now and say, if I'm a team that thinks we're going to go far in the Stanley Cup playoffs, if I can get Kiefer Sherwood and attach contingencies to it, yeah, hallelujah. But my desire to have Kiefer Sherwood in the lineup hasn't diminished whatsoever, despite the lack of goal scoring, and a deep understanding of how important third lines are to you in the NHL, and the fact that if I don't get him, what if the guy down the street does? Essentially, I don't think you're going to win the Stanley Cup by picking up Kiefer Sherwood, but you don't want the guy next door to have him either. And he's going to be really inexpensive to put into your lineup. It's a simple play.
Yeah, and he plays physically, and all GMs and coaches love physicality in the playoffs. And also, I mean, the whole reason he is a Vancouver Canuck is because he looks so darn good for the Nashville Predators in that first-round series a couple of years ago. All the Canucks players were saying, everybody here who was watching that series went, who is that Sherwood guy? He was like Nashville's best player over the series. It was the damnedest thing.
Do you? I know we've talked a lot about Nashville and Kiefer Sherwood. Do you not think that the Anaheim Ducks could use Kiefer Sherwood back?
Well, the Anaheim Ducks could use a lot right now. They've got.
I know they could.
I mean,
absolutely. That back end is the biggest issue, but still, I mean, that's another one. Everyone who was there, the way the story was told to me is, after 1 year, guys in Anaheim all getting together to talk about the lineup and gushing over how Kiefer Sherwood has turned into a certain type of player, and the question quickly turned to, why did we let him go?
Yeah.
And what can we do to get him back? I do wonder about Anaheim here.
Wow. Is it just us in this market that parses the Canucks messaging here from quick rebuild 1 or 2 years to retool a little bit in a hybrid for him to now we're rebuilding, but 2 to 3 years? Like
it's going to be a 2 or 3 year rebuild, but we actually began it 2 to 3 years
ago. And oh, by the way, I'm committed through the end of next year, but I'm not sure beyond that. Rutherford, are we the only ones who parse this, or does the rest of the league look at this and go, "What in the world is happening in me?"
But the thing is, like, the rest of the NHL world does the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I've always found it strange that the NHL is populated by, generally people that played the game. Like, this is a rough, tough, take no prisoners, physical style of game where you have to be tough every time you're off the ice. And then the minute they take off the skates, they get scared of things like offer sheets and, wait for it, words. Managers are terrified to say the word rebuild. I do suppose that part of it must be owners don't like saying that word because it tells your fan base to stay away for a while. Oh, we're under construction. Don't worry about here for a few years. And I understand that. But man, it has been fun. And it's not, again, this is not exclusive to Vancouver. Vancouver's just the most recent example. I find it endlessly amusing how managers will twist themselves into a Gordian knot just to not say the word rebuild.
Which brings us to this flash of genius last week, and I was supposed to ask you about it last Friday, and I didn't.
Okay.
See how wide-eyed he got when I said flash of genius?
Yeah.
I know.
So we're just discussing all of this, and Jeff, we've had the rebuild, retool, and then your addition to this conversation, the renovation.
The renovation, yeah.
This guy last week is in mid-sentence talking about all this with the Canucks and drops the word.
Reload?
How do you like reload? How does reload strike you as an
reload
alternative
implies
for
a very, very brief pause as we clean our muskets and get ready to
Yeah, but you're in the war. You're still in the war.
But we're still in our trenches here. We're gonna go over the top, but hold on a second here.
It's manly. You're dirty.
In the trenches at Verdun reload.
None of this retooling. It makes it sound like you're like a audio-visual guy, taking apart a toaster.
Going to reload. I like it. I think but the thing that I keep coming back to is this idea that every team is rebuilding because every team changes, right? Whether you want to call it rebuild or we're adding or we're reloading, whatever you want to call it, the reality is every team changes. It only depends on which direction you're headed at the temporary. Like I look at things like development and rebuilding teams kind of like bunny hops. Right, you take two hops forward, and then 3 steps backwards, and then 1 step forward. Like none of it is linear, and none of it generally goes as expected. But aren't all teams rebuilding?
Well, they should be.
Teams that are going to win the Stanley Cup this year are going to rebuild on trade deadline day.
We have heard.
I always bring up the Boston Bruins here, Jeff. It's been 20 years of competitiveness for the Boston Bruins. They didn't have the same guys for 20 years. They're constantly changing over, and you should be running out of draft picks and young prospects if you're constantly just buying. They haven't been. They've sold off at various times to get more assets and to get young players that grow back into the roster.
Brandon Carlo.
Yeah, exactly.
It helps when you have Patrice Bergeron and Zdeno Chara.
It's a good core, yeah.
Now they're still sort of, maybe what's the best term for it, coasting on the fumes of those that came before, because it doesn't end right away. Like when Bergeron retires or Chara gets dealt, like it doesn't end right away. They can still surf on the David Pasternaks and then Brad Marchand's before he got moved to the Florida Panthers, and the Charlie McAvoys and Jeremy Swaymans, etc. But that was the height of their glory.
It does go away when you trade away Miller and Hughes, though. Just so you know. You trade away Miller and Hughes, it does go away right away.
I understand how things get more difficult, which is probably even a more true testament to how great the Boston Bruins have been for a number of years here. But look, it happened to Detroit, right? And look, by the end, like the cupboards were barren. There were no draft picks on the shelf, and we all knew, okay, it's a matter of time before the Detroit Red Wings really play, hide and go seek, and you can't find them. And now it's to the point where we don't even call that arena a new rink anymore. It's just a rink where they haven't had a playoff game. Can I pause on Detroit here? Because I've thought a lot about Detroit with the Vancouver Canucks, and I wonder if Steve Yzerman can do all his shopping with one team. He needs one forward and he needs one defenseman. And I'll tell you what, someone mentioned this to me the other day, who's really close with the Wings organization. He said, who the Detroit Red Wings need? Philip Hronek. They need him, is who they need. They're also looking for one more forward, right? They're looking for one more top 6 forward. Like, they're right there, and the pressure is on from the Ilitch family to get into the playoffs, right? And it's probably the time that they can start to bundle some of their prospects, be they either players or draft picks, and start to put together what is going to be the foundation of this team, that after they make, hopefully for them, the playoffs this year, they can be a consistently strong team that grows year after year after year. So that is the one team that I wonder about here with Vancouver, because a lot of things that Steve Yzerman wants, Jim Rutherford has. That's the team I wonder. Now, there's we all know that the teams that are interested in Kiefer Sherwood, there's always going to be surprise teams, but I really wonder about Detroit guys. I'm not sure where you're at on the Red Wings, and Rutherford and Yzerman have done deals before. You look at need, you look at what they have. They have a wonderful pipeline of players, both ready to have significant impact in the NHL or prospects that are a couple of years away. Like, they've done a really, really good job. And you look at what Grand Rapids has done this year. I mean, it's a juggernaut team. Like, the development from the minor league system has been outstanding. I wonder about Detroit here, guys.
Hronek is young enough. He can survive the rebuild load tool.
Sounds better and better.
But if you're telling me Axel Sandin Pelech is coming the other way for Philip Hronek, I get a little bit more interested.
That's what I'm kind of going with here. Like, run down. Like, they've done a really great job. And I still think that even though he's had a step backwards here, Marco Kasper is going to be an outstanding center long-term, not first-line center, but second-line center long-term in the NHL. It just hasn't happened for him this season. But Detroit has what Vancouver wants, and Vancouver has Detroit wants. Am I too foolish here in just saying,
No.
This is like Occam's razor, the easiest answer, and there it is. And Yzerman can do all of his shopping in one place.
You mentioned Roenick, and my first thought is, would Phil Roenick move his no-move clause to go back to a team where he's going to be a second-pair defenseman and not on the top power play?
Massive question. Yeah.
I don't know.
If you say to him, like, listen, this Vancouver team, to Blake's point or verbiage here, is going to be a ways away as they reload this team, whereas Detroit's a playoff team now and poised to be a playoff team for a while, and he's familiar with the market and familiar with the organization. Everybody's a grown-up. Get over the fact that they moved you once. I
see.
Honestly, and
you
even,
say
even,
that,
even,
Jeff, and I wonder how easy it is for this particular personality to get over that, because
he ain't an easygoing guy.
He's not an easy go. Like, he's an ornery, gruff guy. He's a proud guy. Like, I think he probably was quite affected that Detroit moved him out, because remember, his name was nowhere on trade boards or anything. That was a totally out of left field trade that nobody saw coming, other than maybe some Detroit guys had speculated, well, down the road here, they're going to have to make a decision with Seider and Roenick. And then the next thing you know, Yzerman had made the decision and the trade was done. I mean,
although if you're Roenick, let me come at it from a different angle then, as we play sort of fantasy trades here on January 16th.
That's what we do,
if you're
Jeff.
Roenick, to you, listen, I do it. Listen, we got time to fill every single day. I'm as guilty as anybody else. Is that, if you're Philip Roenick, an admission by the Detroit Red Wings they made a mistake? Like, do you return as the conqueror?
Conquering
you want
Philip.
me back, do you? Right? It's like, Brett Hull would sit on the Detroit Red Wings bench. Scotty Bowman was a coach walking back and forth, and it would be a close game. And Hull would turn around and say, "You want a goal now, Scotty? Scotty, you want a goal now? You want me to go now? You want a goal now? You looking for a goal now, Scotty? Okay, just get back to me. Let me know when you want a goal. Let me know when you want a goal." Would this be Roenick going back and saying,
I think the Canucks would have welcomed Cam Neely back with open arms.
Yeah, I think so. Hey, Boston, will you take Barry Peterson for Cam Neely?
Yeah.
Can we trade?
Can we have the Kovacs
back?
guy back, please?
Yeah, exactly. And I must say, conquering heroes and muskets, a lot of militaria on today's hit with Merrick. I feel like I'm in Valley Forge in the winter of 1777.
We'll be talking about the Blue Jackets and the cannon. Are we going to bonus land?
We did
earlier this week.
Yeah, we talked cannon with Gilman earlier this week. There was plenty of cannon last night. I don't think we need to.
No more cannon.
No more cannons.
You know the story. You know the story of the cannon. And Doug
We've got
McLean.
pop
Do you guys know
guns
this one? Do you know the cannon story? So the Booster Club, Doug McLean tells me, the Booster Club in Columbus always wanted a cannon, where they extend the military motif, and Doug never wanted a cannon in the rink. It's like, oh, big loud noises, grumble, 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 grumble. And when it was obvious to Doug that it was going to be his last days with the Blue Jackets, he signed off on the budget for the cannon.
Oh, really?
Oh, my goodness.
As long as I don't have to
That was
lose
his
the
middle finger, was it?
Yeah, totally. It's what Doug says. Like, when I knew I was getting fired, like, yeah, go get that cannon.
Go get that cannon. Set it up. Scare the bejesus out of everybody.
Last move was GM in Columbus, I think Doug mentioned.
Yeah.
Great story.
Okay, we have arrived at Easter egg. As always, Blake Price is here to help you out. This is a tag team effort. So, okay, Canucks long losing streak, but they're only halfway there, Jeff. The NHL's longest losing streak, 18 games. We mentioned it earlier in the show. Pittsburgh in 03-04 and Buffalo 20-21. What's the longest losing streak in the Stanley Cup playoffs? How many consecutive games did this franchise lose?
This franchise. Okay.
Yeah. To set the longest
St.
losing
Louis
streak
Blues.
in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're not
St.
talking
Louis Blues.
series here. We're talking games. This team lost X number of games consecutively in the Stanley Cup
In the
playoffs.
Stanley Cup final?
In
Oh,
the Stanley Cup playoffs, which needless to say,
okay.
man,
So-
they lost it over a long period of time. Because when you're losing these games quickly,
but you need
you're
to be good
getting
enough to get there,
eliminated,
too,
but you
so-
need to be good enough to get to the playoffs. How
So
many games?
I thought it was final because of the St. Louis Blues going there 3 years in a row after expansion and losing in four straight every single time.
Stanley Cup playoff. Longest losing streak games in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Give us is it an old record?
Era is mid-70s to
Okay.
75 to 1980.
Okay.
75 to 1980. Who would have been bad then but just made it into the playoffs? Was it Minnesota North Stars?
No,
Was it the
we're not
Blues?
looking for franchise here either. We're looking for number of games. Longest losing
Oh.
streak in the
Oh,
want the
okay,
number?
so not
Stanley
the
Cup.
team.
So
Oh,
18 is the regular season record. This franchise lost X number of consecutive playoff games.
9.
Okay. Jeff?
I'll go over by 1 and say 10.
I would have guessed something like that too. And yet the Chicago Blackhawks from 75 to 80 managed to lose 16 consecutive Stanley Cup playoff games. I know. So here's how it breaks down. They lose the final 2 games to Buffalo in a 1975 quarterfinal series. They come back the next year, get swept by the Montreal Canadiens. So that's 6 in a row.
Yeah.
Jeff, you'll have to help me with this. They lost a best of 3 preliminary round
Preliminary, yeah, they used to
to
do
the
that,
New
yeah,
York
preliminary round.
Islanders
Yep.
in 1977. So they lost 2
correct.
straight there. Now
we're
we're
at
at
9.
now we're at 8. We're halfway home.
8, pardon me. Yes. 7.
They get swept by the Bruins in 78. And then in 79, they get swept by the Islanders. So they got swept
That's
in
that's spectacular.
4 consecutive series, 3 of them being best of 7s over a 4-year period, and lost the 2 previous.
Francesco Aquilini's going, got my first round playoff gate.
Here's
That's all he's thinking. Got my home games.
Here's the other crazy part.
Wow.
In 3 of those 4 years, they finished first in their division and got swept
Wow.
in the first round. Good thing Taves and Kane got there.
Now, here's the thing that I wonder about. I'm trying to think of. So Tony Esposito would have been the main netminder. Mike Visor as well would have been. Tom Lysiak and the fumes of Stan Mikita would have been there. Like it sounds very much like a team that was just built to crawl through the regular season. There's one player that I
Scoring
want.
leaders:
I always
Pitt
go.
Martin, Dennis Hull, Dale Talon, amongst
Oh,
the scoring leaders in 75-76. That was a first place team.
I'll tell you what. There's one person I always go out of my way with that era of Chicago Blackhawk who I feel most for, and that is Keith Magnuson, the late Keith Magnuson, because that was the era where every team had 4 or 5 gorillas, like ready to just brawl until the wee hours of the morning, and the Blackhawks never wanted to spend on that kind of player. And Keith Magnuson had to fight all of them.
Oh, God.
Had to
Oh, my
fight
gosh.
Schultz, had to fight O'Reilly, had to fight Holt, had to like all those guys. And most times it didn't go well for him.
No.
All the evidence is available on YouTube, but he stood up and he took on everybody that went into the Chicago Stadium.
Gosh.
It was the toughest way to earn your money of any person in Chicago.
Yeah.
Always go out of my way to always to remember like how much that guy stood up for that team. because
there you
it's
go.
cheap to go get someone that could do it significantly. Anyhow.
And that's why they lost all these playoff games, Jeff. They didn't have that enforcer. They needed a Schultz. They needed an O'Reilly. Magnuson needed help at the trade deadline. Old man Wirtz didn't get him.
They needed what they got later, and like Denny Savard and Steve Larmer and Doug Wilson and Al Secord. That's who they needed.
Poor Doug got into the end of this streak. He was a young defenseman.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Scarred him early.
He was there. He was there for that last run of losses. Marvelous stuff. Thank you for today, my friend. Have a great show. We'll catch up next week.
I look forward to the linguistics class in 7 days.
Yes. Reload. Muskets.
Thanks,
Yep.
Cannons.
Cigars and Price from the historic Wall Center, as we've talked about all week. Blake, the biggest game at Lumen Field in more than a decade as the Seattle Seahawks host the arch rival San Francisco 49ers in the NFC divisional round. Joining us now to discuss, retired Army Captain Gregg Bell, who chronicles the Hawks for the Tacoma News Tribune. Morning, Captain Bell. How we doing?
Good day, guys. I'm doing great. How's everything up there? But the Canucks must be losing still if you're talking.
They're
Resplendently.
I shouldn't even bring it up.
9 in a row, buddy.
They make the New York Jets look spectacular.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to Penguins and Kraken on Monday afternoon. Matinee. I'm excited about that.
That will more closely resemble hockey.
Kraken look pretty good, actually. This is a very nice
they
turnaround here from the Kraken. Well done.
And I like Stuart Skinner on the Penguins, by the way. We'll take Edmonton's cast-offs. Jari's got a little comp now. I think they might end up being the number one guy.
For those who don't know, Campbell is a Penguins fan growing up in eastern Ohio. So, we've seen you up here to take in Sydney and the Pens. So we have this thing here in Vancouver, across British Columbia, Greg, with the Canucks that we call Canuck luck. And it just, think of the worst thing that can happen to the franchise, and it happens.
Got it.
Or just when you think you're about to experience joy, something will undercut you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold, oblique injury during a bye week in advance of the biggest game of his life. What in the world, Captain? We saw your tweet yesterday. What is going on with the Seahawks quarterback?
Well, it was an odd day, guys. I'm glad you referenced this tweet I put out yesterday as soon as the practice was over. He came out with a Theragun, which starting quarterbacks don't normally do, but he wanted us to see that. I mean, it was obvious. And he said, nothing to see here. And he was rubbing his right side and his right passing shoulder. So I put out that video after practice, and then they tell us he's questionable. I mean, how it works is normally they issue an email and we talk to the coach, but we didn't talk to the coach yesterday. It's a weird week. We're going to talk to McDonald on Friday instead of Thursday. But the league requires the injury report to come out 2 days before the game. So a PR assistant walks in right before we're supposed to talk to the offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, and says, here's the injury report. Josh Jones is out. Okay, fine. Sam Darnold, questionable. And we said, what? Oblique. What? And because it was 2 days before the practice, the question became, did he take every snap? And then Clint Kubiak said, Drew Lock took the first team snaps today. And that was an alarm that if, in the playoffs, you don't get your number two guy getting any snaps unless he's playing. So then we're thinking, well, Darnold's not going to play. Well, then Darnold comes in about 10 minutes later and says, the fact I was surprised they even had us talk to Darnold. Well looked. And he said, I'm playing. I asked him, what percent of you thinks you're not playing? And he said, pretty much close to zero. He said he heard it. He thrown against air, not against defense. He felt it on his left non-throwing side. So my video I tweeted out ended up being a little bit misleading because it was on his right side with the Theragun. But that was before he got hurt. He got hurt later, about 20 minutes later, early in the practice, thrown against air. And he shut it down completely and said, no more. Let's not risk this. Let's go get treatment, and let's get treatment from now until kickoff. And that's where it stands. He's listed as questionable, guys, because there are no probables in the NFL anymore for injury reports. They got rid of that in 2016.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think this would be a probable situation. What happens is that the last practice before the injury report comes out, if a player misses it, you have to put the injury reason why. And if you put an injury reason why, then if he's less than a near certainty, a virtual certainty of playing, you have to put him as now questionable. You used to put that as probable.
Right.
But now that they don't have that, the next lowest from Fulgo is questionable. That's why he became questionable. And the NFL really monitors this, of course, because of the betting situation. You can get fined and draft picks taken away and all that if you don't report an injury. So that's what the injury became a questionable. If there was a probable, my sense is he'd be a probable. He's going to play. The question that Matt just asked me before we even started this, is he going to be affected? And we don't know that yet. I'm assuming he's going to take a pain-killing injection before the game. They ran for 180 yards against San Francisco last time. They may try to run for 180 yards again because Clint Kubiak runs 50% of the time anyway.
Okay, I mean, you're making me feel a little bit better.
Should be noted, Tom Brady was listed as probable 186 times in his career, 116 times with the right shoulder because Belichick was thumbing his nose at the injury reporting system.
That's a Mike Shanahan trick. When I used to cover the Raiders in the early 2000s, Shanahan put every single player on the roster on there. Every player. And the poor Raiders intern gal, they used to handwrite him on a dry erase board back then.
Oh, no. The Dead Sea Scrolls.
That poor gal, every time we played the Raiders played the Broncos, had to write 53 Broncos names on the dry erase board. It's a true story.
And rather than being scandalous, I mean, maybe we're going to look back on this and just say, the really responsible move by Darnold to just say, I felt something, it was small, and I'm not going to let it grow into. I mean, I'm going to hope that that's the case here, Greg, that, it was really micro what he felt, and it was just like, I'm not letting this grow.
Yeah, Blake, that's the best case. The most cynical case is there's some gamesmanship here because the 49ers all week floated out the possibility of Fred Warner playing this week, even though at the beginning of the week their coach said, no, he's not playing. He's been on an Achilles tear for just coming back. It's going to take a couple weeks to even see if he could come back. And I was on a radio show yesterday and Thursday in San Francisco, and they're like, well, Fred Warner might play. I'm like, come on. So Fred Warner's not going to play, by the way. But I think maybe some of it is a little bit of gamesmanship. But to your point, why would you go through any pain in your side on a practice that doesn't mean anything 2 days before a game that means everything?
So this all begs the question, if Drew Lock has to play, are they screwed, Greg?
With their defense, no, Matt. I think this is almost an exaggeration. I think they could win with the three of us at quarterback. That their defense is so good that you saw how they played the San Francisco game the last time out. They played rope-a-dope. If that was a soccer game, that would have been called parking the bus. They were convinced that the 49ers were not going to drive the field and score touchdowns on them. They were convinced from the opening drive when they went for it on 4th and goal at the 4, you could tell Mike McDonald was saying, even if I don't get this, the 49ers aren't going to get points out of this drive. We're going to get a punt. We're going to get a 3 and out. We're going to get a punt in scoring position anyway. Why not take 2 chances at scoring instead of 1? And that's exactly what happened. The ensuing drive was a plus 35 drive start, only touchdown of the game. Their defense is Super Bowl quality. The way I see it, the offense just can't mess it up. Darnold leads the league with 20 turnovers, and if he turns it over against the 49ers and the Rams, they could lose. But he didn't turn it over in Santa Clara. They only needed 1 touchdown. They win by 2 scores. That's the key. Jake Bobo told me way back in training camp, he said, Greg, what's different about Kubiak and McDonald this year? We're going to be so heavily dependent on our defense that the job of the offense is just not to screw it up. Yeah, we want to score 30 points, and there'll be times we have to, and there have been times they've had to score 30, like against the Rams last month to beat them in overtime. But in general, the offensive philosophy has changed here to run the ball for field position, to put the defense in a position where they're not going to get a 97-yard drive against them, and we win. And that's exactly how they won in San Francisco. That's how exactly they're going to win in the postseason.
The good news with those
39 rushes to 26 passes in that 49ers game.
And the good news with those 20 turnovers, guys, is that it came in 3 games. So when he's bad, he's really bad. And I almost think, guys, can you reverse engineer this a little bit, that because he's injured, Sam Darnold's not going to force things. He's not going to think, hey, I can do that pass. He might just be more conservative, and maybe that's exactly what Seahawks fans should want him to be.
That's one point, Blake. The other point is This may have the 49ers crowd the line of scrimmage, bring another safety down in the box to play the run, thinking the Seahawks are going to play the run or run the ball, and then Darnold hits him with Jackson Smith-Njigba, this 1,800-yard receiver over the top. We didn't see a lot of that in Santa Clara. I think we're going to see more of that tomorrow night in the game plan. Even with Darnold sore and maybe numbed up on the side, I think they're going to air it out. Because I did a study I did the 67 offensive snaps in the game in Santa Clara. 35 times they were in two deep, 32 they were in single high. But interestingly, in the first half, they were majority two deep, and the Seahawks ran for 115 yards. Their most rushing yards in 2 seasons. Robert Saleh, the 49ers, in the second half, they went to single high the majority of snaps. But on the biggest play of the second half, 3rd and 17, in a one-score game, they went to two deep because they, of course, were expecting a pass. They run a toss sweep to Kenneth Walker for 19 yards and a first down with 2 safeties back. I think that's what Saleh is going to change. They're going to run blitz more. I think they're going to crowd the line of scrimmage and bring a safety down more. And I think even an ailing Sam Darnold is going to take shots down the field tomorrow.
And does Clint Kubiak remember that Rashid Shaheed plays for this team too? Like,
yeah, he does.
They could throw the ball to him too.
He's fast.
Yes, and there is going to be a Rashid Shaheed game. We're all been waiting for it. But I will say this. When you watch them from the press box and not follow the ball, Shaheed has affected how defenses have covered Smith and Jigba. You don't see safeties cheat quite as much as you did the early half of the season. There's not quite as heavy of a bracket coverage over the Smith and Jigba's side.
Yeah,
we'll see how that plays out and whether Shaheed actually gets the ball. Shaheed so far has been a marvel in special teams. He's been huge for them in switching field position.
Well, and the other subplot there is both Saleh, the 49ers defensive coordinator, and Kubiak, the Seahawks offensive coordinator, they've got head coaching interviews, right? Like they might be a little bit distracted by moving on up in the world. Greg, I caught some heat from BC-based 12s, this guy and some others, in my evaluation of Sam Darnold from that Seahawks, from that 49ers game in Santa Clara. Look, okay, completed a 20 of 26 balls. That's good, 198. He missed that wide open receiver on the 4th down dig route on the goal line. And I just watched him. He looked like he was feeling ghosts in the pocket, like he was anticipating guys who weren't actually there and about to affect him. I still have serious concerns about Sam Darnold in big moments against good defense. Not that San Francisco is a good defense with all their injuries, but talk me down.
Give Russell Wilson credit. He never had that in his prime as a Seahawk. Like Russell Wilson never panicked.
Like I just wonder about Sam Darnold, the guy in the aforementioned games we saw this year, the guy in the 2 games at the end of last year with the Minnesota Vikings showing up.
It's warranted. He's only had 1 playoff game in 8 years, and that was 9 sacks that the Rams bludgeoned him last year, and it ruined Minnesota's season. But here's what I will tell you. This is what the Seahawks are thinking. They really, if they had any doubts, they were eliminated by that Rams game in the 4th quarter. Yes, Shaheed's punt return got him going from 16 down with 10 minutes left. But the way Darnold rallied them for the winning or the tying touchdown to force overtime, and then the winning touchdown in overtime, plus that 2-point conversion play was the opposite of panic. He waited and waited and waited and waited again for a chip blocker to emerge. I mean, if he was panicked, he would have chucked that. The 49ers game in Santa Clara, I thought the most damning play was on 1st and goal at the 1-yard line on the first drive, when he had Zach Charbonnet in the right flat for a walk-in touchdown. He could have underhand tossed it to him, and he held onto the ball so long, and it took an 11-yard sack. Even if you're going to hold on to the ball there, you throw it between the uprights into the 3rd row, and it's 2nd and goal at the 1. So there's still plays like that, Matt. But as I mentioned earlier, the Seahawks will take those plays. McDonald calls it cost of doing business as long as he doesn't turn the ball over. If you give the 49ers a 1st and 10 at the Seahawks 31, they're liable to lose this game. They lost the Tampa Bay game because of that. It was 35-35 with 3 minutes left. The Seahawks are driving out their minus 30, and he throws an interception, and right away the Bucs are in field goal position, win the game 38-35. The second loss they had was at Inglewood. 4 interceptions, is career high for Darnold. They handed the Rams 2 of their 3 touchdowns of drives of 4 and 23 yards. The only other loss they had, week 1 in San Francisco, in Seattle, Darnold drives them down the field at the 10-yard line, loses the ball with 30 seconds left. They lose. When he doesn't turn the ball over, which has only happened 4 times this season, they don't lose.
A quick line update, both sides of the ball. What's the health like there?
Yeah, they're healthy. Charles Cross is going to play for the first time in 4 games. His backup, Josh Jones, is not going to play, but they're thinking Cross is fine to play. Ernest Jones was sick this week, but it didn't look very good yesterday either. But he is going to play. He's not on the injury report. Woolen hasn't obliqued it. He's going to play. They're relatively healthy. They're not going to get Elijah Arroyo, a tight end, back that they thought he could come back from injured reserve this week. Chaz Surratt, their special teams stud, is not going to come back from injured reserve or play yet. But everybody else is good to go, except for their quarterback with the out-of-nowhere injury.
I see some fans, I've seen this on social media, Seahawks are really cracking down on those trying to resell their tickets for this game, Captain Bell. It's been embarrassing in the past at Lumen, which was once the home field of all home fields, with all that 49. How much red and gold are we going to see in the crowd tomorrow?
A lot. And the reason why is because they keep raising the ticket prices on the Seahawks and fans. And until recently, it was not a wise investment. You weren't getting returns on the increased investment, a team that was not making the playoffs the last 2 years. This season, that has changed a little bit, so there have been fewer fans. But the most expensive seats that visiting teams will buy is right behind their own team's bench. And it happens to be where the TV cameras point from the opposite sideline, so you see it all right front and center. And because the Seahawks tickets have become so expensive, season ticket holders can make back almost their entire season in 1 or 2 games. Now, a true fan, of course, is going to sit their butts in the seat tomorrow night for, as you mentioned, the biggest game in a decade, not to mention the fact it's going to be sunny and 50 degrees Fahrenheit down there.
Right.
I think that's even 10 degrees of Celsius up there or whatever it is. So it's going to be no excuse not to come to this game, but I get it. You keep raising the prices year over year, and then you tell us don't sell the tickets. Well, wait a minute. But, yeah, they're trying. Now that everything's virtual, they can track all that stuff. But you'll see 49er garnet and gold behind the bench tomorrow.
Last question for me, Captain, but assuming they get through the 49ers, who do they want? Do they want their division rival LA Rams, or do they want the mighty monsters of the Midway, the Chicago Football Bears?
How many times do they have to beat the 49ers and the Rams in a given year? Like, oh, my God.
Matt Sakaris' favorite guy in the past week is Matt LaFleur. He just coached his way out of that win the other night. They want the Bears. They're going to get the Rams. Sorry, Matt. Yeah. But the Rams are, to me, the best team I've seen in the league, maybe including Seattle, but certainly next to Seattle all season. They got 500 yards when they came up here the last time. Now, McDonald will have something new for them, but they'd much rather play the Bears. They'll never say that, but although it's supposed to be what? Minus 10 Celsius in Chicago tomorrow with winds like 20 or 40 kilometers an hour. So my conversions are way off, aren't they?
Celsius and kilometers.
No, wow. He's pretty good on this. Metric System Bell.
That's his nickname. Up there, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, the last time I think we spent time with you was watching Four Nations Face Off last year.
Yes, that's right. And
it's almost that time of year, so we expect to visit during the Olympics.
Come on up during the Olympics.
Oh, I'm coming back.
Super Bowl.
I have a car. I drive a Mustang convertible that was made in Alberta. It has kilometers on the speedometer. That's how adopted Canadian I am, yes.
Bring it home.
Outstanding. Greg, enjoy the football game tomorrow.
Yes.
We'll be enraptured watching this. Look forward to it. Thank you for this, my friend.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Secure some price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio, built by Arbor Lee. Big game downtown. Make Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center your home base for game night and beyond. Walk to the action. Sleep like a champ. Plan your stay. Wallcenter.com. And that's the Canadian spelling of center. R-E, of course.
I would hope it's the only way to spell it, isn't it?
Sticking with the NFL playoffs, where the Los Angeles Rams are the only team left in the NFC with a Super Bowl winning coach, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. They won 12 games this year, one more than the Chicago Bears. They were plus 172 points differential, 146 better than Chicago. The Bears allowed the highest rushing success rate of any team this season. Caleb Williams completed the lowest percentage of passes of any starting quarterback. And Chicago has lost 11 straight games on Sunday Night Football. But can we talk about the weather?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Might be my only hope here. One forecasting model for the Chicagoland area on Sunday afternoon, or basically Sunday night there. Wind chills bringing the temperature between minus 17 and minus 23 Celsius. Wind gusts 20 to 30 miles per hour. Dome teams are 1-15 in the playoffs in the last decade when playing under 40 degrees Fahrenheit, Blake. Matthew Stafford played 2 games this season, not in a dome where the temperature was below 50 degrees. 5 picks, 4 touchdowns, 60% completion. Stafford, last 10 games outdoors in the rain and snow, 1-9. Rams, last 10 games in Chicago, 2-8, minus 109 point differential.
Honestly, like it is a factor. Like it's not just
look at those stats.
Yeah, I mean, this is not what Stafford is used to playing in.
Nope.
Well,
Neither in Detroit nor in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, both domes.
I think it's one of the best routes to victory for the Bears. I don't know who they paid in the godly realm to make this happen.
Like you're forgetting.
Maybe just an Etsy
No,
witch. I
Blake,
don't know.
You're forgetting. Pope Leo. He's from Chicago.
Oh,
this
right.
is divine.
That's a good point.
We have the Pope. We have the throne of St. Peter. We have the entire Holy See behind us.
The Catholics control weather. What about the other religions?
Pope Leo. He's from Chicago.
You're just going to cling to this.
I like this tweet. Rams Bears is a matchup between the team that finds the craziest ways to lose games and the teams that finds the craziest way to win games. Not wrong. The Chicago Bears have won 7 games this year when trailing at some point inside the 2-minute warning.
It's bonkers.
It's just out of this world. Which is why I'm expecting to be disappointed Sunday, Blake. But really, it's defense mechanism.
I'm going to go.
Because I just want to treat it as gravy. This has been a very good year for my team. I'm stunned that they're at this spot, kind of like the Blue Jays. If they happen to win this game, I'd be delighted. But I prepped myself for another devastating loss.
I predict a field goal to win for the Bears.
Oh, God.
It's going to double doink,
Doink and go in.
Double doink in.
Thank you. Turning our attention. Boy, we were talking. The AFC is like the ugly stepchild this weekend. Denver Buffalo, where the Bills are just devastated at wide receiver. They got 3 healthy receivers. Denver doesn't score a lot of points to begin with. Like, that could be a fugly game.
Yeah.
And then Houston and New England. I mean, there's not even like a real teaming storyline there. Okay, Patriots are back in an AFC championship game if they win with a new coach and a new quarterback. But I think there's still some Patriot fatigue, right?
Of all the playoff teams,
fan base.
of all the playoff teams, I know maybe the least about the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. Yeah. I'll learn about them.
On that Denver-Buffalo game, Sean Payton is vying to be the first coach to win Super Bowls with 2 different franchises. Can you believe that? We're 60 years into the Super Bowl era. There's not been a single coach who has won Super Bowls with different franchises. Peyton's the only quarterback to do it.
That is bonkers.
It's so bananas.
Really?
Yeah, of course, won with the Saints and now trying to win with the Broncos. Here's the problem. Bo Nix, their quarterback, is 1-8 versus winning teams that score more than 17 points.
It's pretty low bar.
They beat Green Bay last month. The Packers scored 26 points. That's their only win against a winning team that puts up more than 17. Basically, if the Denver defense doesn't shine against good teams, Denver loses. So we'll see. And you were talking, you're past the marvel at Josh Allen stage, and he is a marvel. And I feel similarly with Lamar Jackson. Love watching them play. They are just magnetic players to watch, in part because of how they use their legs to complement the passing game. But it's now with both those guys, just show me you can win a big playoff game.
Lamar,
right?
There's more skepticism for me because he's not a slinger. And
Fair.
so I'm already skeptical just about the makeup of the quarterback. For Allen, he's got all the pieces, but you don't win, so show me.
Yeah. Boy, Buffalo, this has got to be your year, man.
Yeah.
No Lamar in Baltimore. No Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. In these playoffs, no Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. Josh Allen, it is, to quote Adam Foote, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of coaches, John Harbaugh has chosen the New York Giants. Details expected to be finalized here today. First domino on the coaching carousel. 6 vacancies. I think the only one that has a chance of opening up, if Buffalo were to get blown out tomorrow, are you coming back with Sean McDermott 10 years in? You're not trading Josh Allen. You just you've cast your lot with Josh.
Yeah.
So do you find him a different head coach? Maybe a guy who's been there and won it?
OC,
Maybe an offensive-minded coach? I don't know. We'll see. As mentioned with Captain Bell there, Seattle offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, a strong candidate in Atlanta, according to some reports. Others say that ex-Browns coach Kevin Stefanski, the leading candidate there.
And as you mentioned with him and Salah on each side, both getting courted. I like that because that negates the distraction storyline. Like if one guy's going to lose, you can't say he was distracted. Well, the other guy should have been distracted too. So you've got to rise above the distractions. Both sides have got that possibility.
Salah Cardinals interview there.
You know what I do like about Salah? Even though
I like Salah a lot.
I love the fact that, and OCs generally look like this, but he is so into the game. God damn, he loves to watch himself at work. You know, like he
looks like a defensive coordinator too.
He's in a 3-point stance most moments of the game. I respect it.
Honestly, with the way their depth chart looks at linebacker, he might be the next guy up.
Yeah.
I was talking to our buddy Scott Rintoul yesterday at the BC Sports Hall of Fame selection committee meeting. Scotty's a big 49ers fan. And he was like, "Yeah, we're down to our 6th and 7th string linebacker. Like, we are literally pulling guys off the street to come play linebacker."
It's why I hate the hoodie maybe more than anything. He does not look like he enjoys his job. I like guys that look like they enjoy, like...
It's sports. It should be fun.
Yeah.
The joyless environments of Bill Belichick and some of the others over the years.
McVay loves his job. You can tell it.
Love it.
Yeah, Pete.
Nick Saban had a breakthrough on this. He was very much a joyless guy in the early days in Alabama. And he said, you know what? We've got to lighten up and loosen up here
Vermeil, too.
The kids have to have fun.
Vermeil was stodgy, too. And
Vermeil with the Eagles was...
Yeah.
And then when he got to the Rams, he was that way.
He was quite literally a dick.
Yeah.
And then,
his players came to him and said, "Look, coach, this is a little much." And he...
I was about to say, and then he softened, but... I don't want to get lost in the metaphor.
Tom Coughlin as well on that list. Oh, listen to this. He kills him.
I do kill me.
Whitecaps off to Spain for training camp.
Bon voyage.
Ranko Veselinovic with his ACL, Sam Adekugbe with his Achilles. They will travel, but it doesn't sound like they'll be available next month for CONCACAF Champions play when that begins. Axel Schuster saying, quote, "I don't want to put pressure on any of them that they are ready for the start of the season. We expect both to be back in the first half of the season." Those were both very big injuries. In Adekugbe's case, at least it happened early enough in the season. Ranko was a little later in the campaign. And then we talked about this because Schuster said late last year, right before Christmas, that it was coming down to Ali Ahmed or Sebastian Berhalter, that they weren't going to have the cap space, the ability to re-sign both midfielders, I guess Ali on the wing. And then Ali Ahmed, of course, got transferred to Norwich City. So Harjo Hall of Daily Hive, who does exceptional work covering the Caps beat, she asked Berhalter yesterday, "You'd like a contract extension?" And he said, "That's again not up to me." That's a good question, Har, but again, not up to me. Very expertly answered, Sebastian. He's on a salary of $385,000. He would be a free agent after this season without an extension. I completely understand this from Berhalter's point of view. From his boots, Blake, you're talking about a guy who had an exceptional season, was amongst your most valuable players team MVP, right? And made his way to the MLS All-Star game, made his way up the ranks in the U.S. men's national team, and they have all this money coming in after the sale of Ali Ahmed, and they moved Jaden Nelson out. So this should get done.
And the good news is in soccer, you don't sign 7-year deals. Like you sign 1 to 2 year deals. And so you're not overly committed. And for the Whitecaps to at least spend during the Thomas Muller era, never mind beyond, it should be a given. Right? You sign them to a 2-year deal, and then post Muller, you can maybe take a step back and rebuild again and whatnot. But right now, you got to spend. You got to stay on top.
You have to.
One other roster.
He's earned it too.
One other roster nuance here. Yesterday, Axel, we talked about him promising 3 to 4 more players coming in. Glass City astutely points out they've only got 2 open roster spots right now. So.
Sounds like someone's going out.
Are there departures coming as well? We'll see.
Is that Tristan?
I would be surprised at this point still. I know they do have the depth. Like there is a big faction of Whitecaps fandom that is like, no, that's fine. Transfer him out, get a huge fee, maybe get a player back in an MLS trade. He's very good. No one's denying that he's good. But
I just hope they reinvest in the club, Blake, with it being for sale and the lease at
Matt,
BC Place.
I've never, like any other year, I would share your skepticism. With Thomas Muller here, there is no chance they're not investing.
And the Canadian Championship draw has taken place.
Well, it will take place.
The
structure is there.
Your 4-time defending reigning Canadian champions, Vancouver Whitecaps FC, will play.
While the winner of the first round match, the draw is happening during the Canada-Guatemala match here coming up in Camp Poutine.
By the way,
you don't like Camp Poutine?
No, hate it. So stereotypical, so cheesy. No pun intended. Just call it your training camp.
The dates are the most important here. They don't play a Canadian Championship match until July 8th, which is very nice.
They get a first round bye.
You get the first round bye, and it's all screwed up because of the World Cup too, right? So July 8th and then July 12th or 13th are the two matches. The Canadian Championship game, the only thing that isn't two-legged is the championship match, is October the 21st, a full 3 weeks later than it was a year ago. The other interesting nuance here, CF Montreal is now a Western Canadian team. This is because Winnipeg folded in the Canadian League.
Right.
It became Quebec, who are more eastern than Montreal. So Montreal has to travel and become a Western team.
Why wouldn't it be Ottawa or Toronto or Forge or one of the teams that are further west?
Valid questions. Montreal is a Western Canadian team. I can't help you there.
If I'm not mistaken, the Arizona Cardinals were once in the NFC East, and the Atlanta Falcons were in the NFC West.
Yes.
You put that one together. Vancouver Football Club of the CPL announced Martin Nash back as head coach, and I see our old friend Nick Dasovich added to the coaching staff.
Oh, really?
There.
He's back. Okay, good.
Yeah. That's the.
I once scored on Nick Dasovich in the media match with my left foot. That is my highest moment ever in soccer. I never have looked at a ball and loaded up with so much concentration. It was
like with Trevor Martin's level of load?
Well, I was just like, I don't think I've ever kicked competitively a soccer ball with my left foot ever. But it was the situation. I was like, I'm chest down, and I'm just going to.
Dasso was playing goal?
Dasso was playing goal, yeah.
Oh, because it would be unfair if he played out.
It was
against media.
I have to tell you, it may be one of my highest competitive moments
Oh, my
ever.
goodness.
It was the most pure kick maybe I've ever with either foot, and I'm not a lefty. Mwah, sorry, Dasso. I have to bring it up.
Boy, Blake Price, loving him some Blake Price in this segment. He's a stand-up comedian. He's a left-footed striker. Let's see what else he's got here. Infielder Bo Bichette, leaving the Blue Jays, joins the New York Mets on a 3-year, $126 million contract. After missing out on Kyle Tucker, the Mets pivoted quickly to the Jays shortstop / second baseman. I was never convinced Bo was going back to Toronto. I think it's a Canada thing. And speaking of Tucker, he's going to make $60 million per year.
Just that, huh?
The ex-Cub and Astros outfielder signs a 4-year deal with the LA Dodgers. Only Shohei Ohtani has a higher AAV in Major League Baseball history. He makes $70 million per year.
A quarter of $1 billion contract, basically. A quarter of $1 billion contract for just 4 years of work.
Yeah. I read somebody on Twitter last night say, boy, after adding Tucker, Dodgers' only real hole is second base. They should go give Bo Bichette $40 million a year to play second base. And who knows, they may have. Here's the thing. And I was texting with our buddy Andy Dunn, former C's president, about this last night. Tucker's not worth that. He ain't that guy. Really good, broadly skilled baseball player who does just about everything well. A good defender in right field, has a gold glove, good contact hitter, good power hitter, drives and runs, really terrific high percentage base stealer, takes his walks. So, but he's not Ohtani. He's not Judge. He's not Soto. He's not that level of player. $60 million.
Shows you what a market can do, right?
Unbelievable. Jays were in on both of these players, and so the question now, did they pivot to Cody Bellinger, a former league MVP, who can play all 3 outfield spots and first base? And really, he's got pretty similar numbers career-wise to Kyle Tucker. Look at them side by side, visual platforms for you. Bellinger's played more. He's more experienced, but they're not too dissimilar players. Both really good athletes, multi-position guys. We'll see.
JT Realmuto just re-signed with the Phillies, 3 years at $45 million.
Yeah, his market was pretty slow. I think people were worried about catcher breaking down.
But now we scoff like we're like $15 million a season.
Well,
like,
but the other thing is,
does the guy need help?
Phillies missed out on Bo.
Send me your Venmo. I'll send you some money.
The Phillies thought they were getting Bo, right? His relationship with Don Mattingly. He went in, visited them, interviewed. Nope. He's off to their rival in the NL East. The Mets. Yankees are still inclined to re-sign Bellinger. We'll see what takes place there. Bellinger's really the last top-tier bat available in free agency. How about this? We were talking this week about Vicky Mboko, the Canadian tennis sensation. She's into a 3rd career WTA final, of course, the reigning Canadian Open champion, in Down Under, Adelaide International. A dominant win for Mboko, 6-2 and 6-1. She faces world number 5 Mira Andreeva in the finals. Mboko's up to number 17 in the world and climbing. Aussie Open starts tomorrow, and Mboko has a 17-year-old Aussie, Emerson Jones. She's 155th in the world in the first round. So
teenager to teenager. Andreeva's a teenager too, so she's not facing anybody older than 20 in the next week.
This is not the World Junior Tennis Championships, but it's aged that way. 3 Canadian women, 4 Canadian men in the singles draws of Oz. New shooter Liam Draxel of Newmarket, Ontario, a 24-year-old, qualified for his first Grand Slam. He's 145th in the world, and he plays the 66th-ranked Bosnian in his opening round match. Good luck to Liam.
Yeah.
Joining Gabriel Diallo, who's got Zverev in the first round, number 3.
That should rest up Diallo for Davis Cup. That's good.
Shapovalov, and, of course, Felix Auger-Aliassime participating. Poll question results from yesterday asked, as a whole, did the 2 Jim Rutherford interviews give you confidence in the Canucks rebuilding plan? Yes or no? People said.
They said no.
Yeah. Pretty much any question right now about the Canucks is going to
But I think
veer towards the negative response.
if he didn't give the Gary Mason interview, I think this question changes significantly. If it was just PJ's, I
still think no wins, but I hear you.
But it's 10% better, I think.
I would agree. Salt and Paprika, good account, smart account. Until there are meaningful actions trades, this management group does not have the trust of the fans to rely on words. They've changed courses 3 times just this season alone. How do we know there won't be 4 or 10 more?
I used the Seinfeld meme yesterday on Twitter about this.
Reservation?
Anybody can take a rebuild. It's about holding the rebuild.
And Agent 44 says, I want to see their actions speak for them. I'm tired of word salads they are serving up. Understood.
Yes.
Errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond, and there are several. I said 7-year deal for Elias Pettersson. 8-year deal. I meant 7 years left, including this one. Blake, I'll have you know that Tier 2 FCS college football is a really big deal in the Dakotas.
It is.
You tried to put South Dakota in Division 2. They're Division 1 second tier, the University of South Dakota, when you were making a football reference the other day.
It's still second tier. Still tier.
It's Tier 2, Division 1.
Yeah.
Don't make me get into English football where the second tier is the championship and the third tier is League One. And then my English relatives are like, how come that when they win Super Bowls and World Series, they say champions of the world? It's not a world league. And I go, okay, explain to me League One. Mm-hmm. And then we were talking about how sometimes doing well at these warm-up tournaments for the Grand Slams can take too much out of you. And it was Felix Auger-Aliassime. Was it last year, Blake?
Last year. He did what Victoria Mboko's trying to do. He won Adelaide.
And then got bounced in the second round of Oz.
Yeah. So, got to be careful what you wish for.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Costs you nothing, for free. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time. And based on the Canucks schedule, they're mostly done with the Eastern and Central starts. So I think we'll be noon every last day of this season. There might be one 5 p.m. start where we go early. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about. Have a great weekend. Keep it local.